coordinator for Southern Africa and FAO representative to Zimbabwe, to give us the background of the Green Cities program. Thank you, sir.
Good. Thank you, Master of Ceremony. His Worship, the Mayor of Harare, the Attendant Clerk Engineer Harare Mayor, all officials of the City Councils, dear FAO colleagues, and the media presence. So it's really a great pleasure for me to be with you this afternoon. I think we have been discussing for many months now, and we're all looking forward to this opportunity for this signing ceremony, which for us is really a good symbol in our collaboration, and we really look forward to this as the first step and important step for our partnership for the coming years. The Worship Mayor, the world is becoming more and more urbanized, with 55% of the population living in cities. And I think this is also the case in Zimbabwe, where we have big cities such as Harare, Bulawayo, Mutare, where the population is growing day after day. Just before this meeting, the mayor was explaining to us some of the challenges that the city is facing in terms of really improving the maternity services for the population of Harare and surrounding of the capital. So the urban population is set to reach around 68% by 2050, with 90% in low-income countries, especially in Africa and Asia. So cities already consume almost 80% of the total energy produced in the world and absorb up to 70% of the food supply. To address these challenges, cities are taking a more active role in contributing to national government efforts in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement. Population growth and rapid urbanization are exacerbating the limits of our current food systems, increased level of greenhouse gases, deforestation, food loss and waste, and increasing competition for natural resources. Local administrations are finding it increasingly challenging to ensure urban and peri-urban populations have access to sustainable and nutritious food, build resistance to zoonotic diseases, develop green spaces, and reduce food waste. So maintaining sustainable agri-food systems with green spaces that include urban and peri-urban agriculture and forests are essential for cities, making them more resilient to the impact of climate change and socio-economic crisis. To trigger transformative actions for cities to become greener, cleaner, more resilient and regenerative, FAO launched the Green Cities Initiative and Action Plan on 18 September 2020 at a high-level event during the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly, aimed at improving city dwellers' well-being through increased availability of and access to products and services provided by sustainable urban and peri-urban agriculture, forestry and food systems. It will be implemented in metropolitan, medium and small cities in developing countries. The initiative aims to reach 1,000 cities by 2030 around the world. On 21st of June 2021, FAO launched the Green Cities Regional Action Plan for Africa and celebrates 6 cities who joined this initiative. Today, FAO Zimbabwe is happy to partner and celebrate the coming on board of the city of Harare to join this initiative. The Green Cities Initiative is a major opportunity to strengthen much needed urban and rural linkages for the city of Harare, and success rests on the active participation of stakeholders through broad and diverse partnerships. It is an umbrella initiative that will leverage different urban and peri-urban projects, programs, an agenda to achieve actions for greater scale, uptake, and impact. While the COVID-19 pandemic has added new challenges in meeting urban demands for more sustainable nature-related goods and services, recovery paves the way to accelerate urban food system and green city transformation. We believe that maintaining sustainable agri-food systems and greener cities will help the city of Harare build back better to be more resilient in the post-COVID world. Sustainable and climate resilience practices and technologies will include local food production, promote short supply chains, and reduce the urban and peri-urban climate footprint. The city of Harare can achieve sustainable and inclusive urban agri-food systems through green agro-processing hubs, efficient food distribution, improved food environments and management of water resources and food waste along circular economy principles. In this regard, we aim to leave no one behind, including women and youth and disadvantaged communities. Renewable energy can bring enormous benefit to cities, including cleaner air, modern services, and improved living spaces. The Green Cities Initiative will provide opportunities for climate action for the city of Harare, green buildings, cleaner air and water, renewable energy, sustainable transport systems that link urban and rural areas can lead to a more inclusive and fairer society. Cities are crucial to the world's transition to a low-carbon economy and reaching the goals of the Paris Agreement. A sustainable and circular bioeconomy is a pathway to greening urban agri-food system and key ingredient in building back better. What are the next steps? We have put together resources to conduct an assessment that will enable the city of Harare and city of Bulawayo and key stakeholders to prioritize areas of intervention under this initiative. This will pave the way for mobilizing financial resources for a bigger and fully fledged programs. FAO is also starting work on putting together the coordination mechanism to help drive the process forward, with the national focal point being based in the Ministry of Environment, the city of Harare to allocate a focal point that will work together with FAO and the Green Cities Initiative. In concluding, to face the threefold challenge of the pandemic, the climate crisis, and the urban inequality, cities need to be resilient, sustainable, and inclusive. FAO acknowledges and respects the weaknesses of the city of Harare's infrastructure, geography, communications, history, and culture, and as the city of Harare expands, FAO, through its regional and Zimbabwe country offices, looks to support and guide the city in finding ways to make their unique urban environment a cleaner, greener, healthier, and place to live. Thank you for your attention. The tender Siabang.
Thank you, Dr. Patrice Talla. That was FAO subregional coordinator for Southern Africa and FAO representative to Zimbabwe. May I recognize the presence of the Information and Publicity Committee Chairperson, Councillor Otora. Thank you. Also, let me recognize the presence of Engineer Chigariro from the Public Lighting. Engineer, thank you so much for coming. It's now time for the signing ceremony, where we are having FAO and City of Harare signing of the letter of intent, and the parties are to declare their intention to work together on the Green Cities Initiative. This is to underpin the importance of enabling environment needed to support the planning, designing, and management of green spaces and sustainable food systems, addressing the common and diverse challenges and opportunities that small, intermediary, and metropolitan cities face. Signing on behalf of the city is His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Jacob Agricultural Organization is Dr. Patrice Talla, the FAO subregional coordinator for Southern Africa and FAO representative for Zimbabwe.
He has a more beautiful signature.
The two are going to work together. City of Harare and FAO, especially on the green city. As a city, we need a green city.
Let's get him to sign first.
The legal. Need a legal opinion there. From our 18 chamber secretary, arrange for us.
Thank you. Thank you. The Sub-Regional Coordinator for Southern Africa and Country Representative for Zimbabwe Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, FAO or FAO, Mr. Patrice Talla. You know, in Zimbabwe we like to give our acronyms sounds. So we'll say ZESA or FAO for FAO. It's not an acronym if it doesn't sound like a word. But so you will excuse my interchangeable use of that. Staff from the Food and Agricultural Organization, the chairperson of the Environmental Committee, chairperson of the Information Committee, all councillors here present, the acting town clerk of the city of Harare, engineer Mabena Moyo, the chamber secretary, advocate. We like to call our lawyers advocates, even if they are not heads of department, staff from the city of Harare. I'm happy that as Harare, we are part of the FAO Green City initiatives. We commit to this process for the well-being of our urban and peri-urban populations. The quest for a sustainable livelihoods can never be understated. We have a lot of populations that are not gainfully employed. Some who are employed on a contract basis. And to sustain the livelihoods would require programs such as this to develop capacity in them so that they do not fall subject to hunger and other challenges that they might face. I would like to assure Dr. Patrice Talla that this program will receive maximum support from the city of Harare at the highest level. My council will support you, will support the program, and will make sure that we remove any and every obstacle that should come the way of these programs. As you know, our cities were designed as colonial and extractive cities. And it is very critical and important that we create a value system that will allow people to feel a sense of ownership and belonging in the cities. In the old days, the cities, you were supposed to work. Once you worked and you were no longer useful, you were supposed to go back to your rural areas. But they've now become our homes. They've become where we sustain our livelihoods. When someone says, where do you come from? They no longer mention a name you can't pronounce. They simply say, I come from Harare, which we use not to be the case. So therefore, it has become part and parcel of a city and a way of life. And we need to remove the extractive model that the cities were designed under, so that they become healthier, they become more useful, they become more in touch with the needs of society. And part of that is to create a green initiative, a city that speaks to the needs. We, as a city, I had earlier said we wanted to hold this signing ceremony in one of our woodlands, Masasa woodlands, where we have 265 hectares that is under savanna grassland and right in the middle of the city. We are one of the few cities that have a natural park. You'll see giraffes there, zebras there, and a whole complete savanna woodland with all its aspects reflected in it, from the rivers to the grass to the vegetation to the fauna and the birds, well preserved, which we are leasing to a trust that is keeping it green. And we have a huge tradition of golf courses that are basically green cities. We green habitats. We have over 38 of clubs that within Harare, no, is it 58 clubs? The bulk of them are golf clubs, country clubs, where it's green, and they range from size from 300 hectares, 50 hectares, and so forth. And that's all areas of greenery. And we've endeavored in our designs, even in the suburbs, to leave a number of recreational, what we call recreational parks and so forth, that do not have buildings and so forth. But there are many spaces, the roads themselves, the yard themselves. And there's an interesting history in terms of livelihoods. In the old days, people used to get an avocado whenever they were paying their rents from our orchard. Now, an avocado plant served two purposes. It was both for the shade and the greenery, but it also has food. The fruit is starch, and it was a useful substitute for the urban population, and it still is, in terms of people relying on it for the starch needs in the morning and in the evening, should they fall on hard times and so forth. So we believe that that DNA should be kept going forward. We also believe that participatory governance is really a useful tool in this process. We need to develop a relationship with the citizens, and this Green Cities initiative will believe and will get us closer to the residents. We have challenges around refuse collection, challenges around energy, and biogas is one of the easy wins in terms of trying to create renewable forms of energy. The creation of an audit of our bylaws, as I said earlier, that many of our practices and even designs of the cities were born from an extractive nature of the then colonial city, and that we have not had a wholesale audit of our bylaws and our practices to see whether they are necessary to do them in that particular fashion, or we need to reconstruct their import and their impact on citizens with a view of creating a city that is both inclusive and gives value chains to the citizens. And part of it is to be able to engage women, gender, young people, and also to mainstream many of these issues within the operations of council itself. From the briefings that I got, I am informed that this initiative is focused on improving the urban environment, ensuring access to a healthy environment, healthy diets, and a clean city. And this will focus on urban governance, urban disaster risk management, urban economy and security, resilient infrastructure, basic services, urban planning, and environment planning and design of urban spaces, which require us to pay close attention to the natural environment, thereby reducing our footprint and also enhancing certain features that are to deal with the quality of our green spaces, our water, our air, our soil, and the public green spaces, and also mitigate against climate change. So FAO initiatives will be useful in that regard. So we are also working on issues around greenhouse emissions. Harare is committed to the quality of air, to the commitments that have been made by our government under the Paris agreements. We are duty bound as a city to take cognizance of what our government is committed to, and to then be able to follow up. As you are well aware, cities can be a major contributor to us failing to meet the targets and so forth. And we've been thinking about how do we deal with renewable energy. We as council are looking towards resolving creating a solar power plant using some of our farms. We have an energy requirement of around 35 megawatts for our own operations as a city treated, and we believe that those 35 megawatts we can get them from renewable sources, and the rest of the energy uses to public lighting and operations of council, which we can use. That once one has a 100 megawatt solar power plant, we can then sell the excess to the residents, and we will be in compliance with what we seek to do. And those are some of the quick wins that we've done and that we want to implement as a city. As we increase vehicles, gas emissions can become an issue. Urban mass transport is not as developed as it should be. We are looking at how can we deal with mass transportation and reduce reliance on vehicles. That will then obviously have an impact on the green cities that we are doing. As we speak right now, we've got visitors from Yemen, where we are working on experts on mass public transport and also the promotion of the use of bicycles as a mode of transport. We have a fairly flat city. Students and other workers, we used to have a factory in Blawa, which used to produce 45,000 bicycles a year. And we believe that we can go back to that. It is healthy to put citizens on bicycles, their cycle tracks. It reduces our health bill, increases their health, saves money, makes them grow longer and older, so that we can have more joy in your ranks in the over 50s or 60s thereabouts. So we need a healthy lifestyle regime, and so we're going to be promoting bicycles. We are going to look at how we can reconfigure mass transportation to look at green buses, solar buses, and so forth, so that we don't increase the number of cars. We currently are sitting with about 1.2 million vehicles in Harare alone. For a population of 3 million, that's a lot of vehicles. It shows that the vehicles are the mass transport solution, which creates an anomaly, pollution and traffic jams. So, but at the end of the day, we are grateful for FAO's initiative, and we will endeavor as a city to look and relook our planning models so that they can fit in with what we are trying to do this with. So with these few remarks, I would once again like to appreciate the relationship and the consummation of this relationship on this historic day. Thank you very much.